Well, hello there, folks. Today's video is all about how do we teach policy, legislation, and all of the procedural and the rule book stuff to an audience in a corporate environment or even any kind of business environment. Now, essentially, there is two approaches that we can take to this. And essentially, I call them the top-down or the bottom-up approach. What we often find in training environments is that there is often a very much of a top-down delivery approach to an audience, but I would postulate that it doesn't work. Now, what I mean by top-down is essentially, this is what the policy is, this is what the procedure is, and this is all the dot points, and this is all the standards and regulations. And we often find that it's very much a deliver at kind of approach as opposed to a deliver with kind of approach. Now, I would postulate that if you actually want to create memorability in the content and you actually want people walking away using the information, knowing the information, a bottom-up approach is going to be far more empowering for your audience, right? Now, essentially what I mean by this is simply asking yourself, okay, I've got, this piece of legislation or this piece of procedure or policy to actually teach my audience. And I would postulate there's going to be a far more effective approach if you ask yourself, how will this policy procedure impact this audience on a daily basis? And from that, what situations and what scenarios will they actually need to use it? You see, you can stand up in front of an audience and tell them all the policies, all the procedures, and all the standards and all the whatevers, right? But until it actually becomes an embodied experience, and they go, oh, okay, these standards exist because of X, Y, Z, and I'm going to use them in this way, nothing's really going to change. And they're not really going to become, they're not going to embody the information and they're not going to remember it, right? So you could know all the fancy laws and legislations on paper, but if you can't actually activate the information, then maybe you don't actually know it. What a crazy idea, right? And the really, really cool thing is that when you can get someone going, all right, I'm doing XYZ action right now because of XYZ policy, that is the really empowering place for your audience to be, right? But many times when companies try and train people, they do it back to front. And they teach the policy, the procedure, but they don't actually talk about what that would actually look like in regards to actioning that policy and procedure. So I would just encourage any trainer and facilitator that's working in the space of teaching policy and procedure to think about what angle you're approaching it from, top down or bottom up. And when you take a bottom up approach, as in how will the policy procedure be activated on a daily basis and how will it actually impact people, and whether that's the end user or the person that's activating the policy, that is when there's going to be a lot more activation of knowledge, content, and people are going to walk away going, okay, cool, I get it now, I get it, I can apply that policy or that procedure, right? So hopefully that makes sense, folks. If you got some value from the video, drop a comment, like, comment, share, let's get the message out there. I just want to encourage anyone that's in the policy, procedure, legislation space to really rethink how they are delivering their content, because thousands of slides with thousands of policy and procedures, it just doesn't land, no one cares, and it's just white noise to the average audience member out there in any training environment. On that note, folks, hope you get some value, and we'll see you on the next one. That, folks, just a small tip on how to rethink around your facilitation of training, policies, and procedures. My name is Mark Miles, helping you become an even better trainer and facilitator. Bye for now.